It is like Lost in Translation, only better.
Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Norm.
You did that laughing thing at the beginning just to ice me.
You clipped it just a little bit.
I know. I got excited.
Hey, we're back.
We're back.
Yes.
We were gone?
Yeah, last week we were gone.
Oh, man, I've been to so many places. I'm traveling more than I ever have traveled before.
So I think last time we talked, was it right before you went to the White House? Or was it right after you got back?
Right after I got back.
from the White House.
But so since...
Which is that video's been it's out, and everyone should watch it because it's awesome.
It is really awesome.
I need to
Really,
Kids are
really
amazing.
awesome.
It's literally, Obama came out for his remarks and he said, boy, first of all, he spent an extra hour over his allotted time.
Wow.
He spent a full hour extra with the kids. Like he was supposed to give a talk at 2 and he came out finally into the room at 3.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I mean, and he's there really talking to all these kids, and they're amazing. My personal favorite moment from the White House Science Fair are the 2 little girls who made a balloon launcher that took
a weather balloon.
To
their cat.
79,000 feet with a GoPro.
Holy cow.
And a picture of their cat. And they're like 8 and 10, 8 and 11.
They look tinier.
They look even tinier. And I go, that's amazing, 79,000 feet. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, and that's your cat. And she went, no, that's a picture of my cat.
And then she did the most precious thing ever, which is, are you from Mythbusters?
Yeah. Right. That was she post confirmed it. Since then, I went and was a guest judge at BattleBots. I think we talked about that. Did we talk?
We have not.
We
talked
have
about
not
that.
talked about
Although I don't know how much we should talk about. The show is coming out in June.
I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything. I will say that it was really fun. It was like an old home reunion. One of my oldest friends, Fawn Davis of Fawn Co. Was another guest judge, and so was Jessica Chobot. It was, there is a lovely thing that happens on a good show when you can just tell with every crew member that you meet that it's a good production. And BattleBots is totally that. Like everyone on that production is loving the job, loving the material, loving the contestants, loving the show, and it exudes.
It's the same thing. The same way it felt like that last year. Like everybody, by the end of that, people were sad. Well, like they were bummed that it was going to be, as much as a year before they got to do it again or whatever.
Yeah,
So-
no, I would be too. And I mean, everyone's great. The announcers and the technical staff and the editorial.
And it's also, even though the show is an hour long every week when they air it, these are long days that they're putting in, and even the audience that gets there, because they had kids in the audience, fans of BattleBots watching it. It's a production, but it's all worth it. Waiting to get everything set up, to make sure everyone's safe. Safety is paramount for that type of production. But then once the light turns on and the BattleBots go at it, it's awesome.
And then.
But wait, there's more.
So this was the craziest schedule thing I've dealt with in a long time. I wrapped my second day on BattleBots on a Wednesday night at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
The problem I had was that Thursday morning at 6 a.m., I needed to be at Oakland Airport in order to chaperone 11 kids to a vocal a cappella conference and competition in Memphis, Tennessee.
Hold on, so did you fly straight from L.A. on the morning?
I didn't. There is no flight that leaves.
You drove?
We hired an SUV and I slept in the back for a.
It wasn't an Uber because that would be very expensive.
No, it was we hired a limo
driver,
company.
Yeah.
They paid for my flight down there and back, and for about the cost of a flight, a guy drove me from L.A. at 11 o'clock at night to my house by like 5 a.m. where I met up with my wife and my son, and we got in the car, went back to Oakland Airport, and flew to Memphis with Vocal Rush, which is the Oakland School for the Arts a cappella group. And we went to Memphis.
Are you able to sleep on that ride?
Oh, yeah. No, I got about 2 hours of sleep on the ride. I got about 3.5 hours on the plane. And
right.
I was okay. It was plus,
you could use Sleep Bus.
Sleep Bus? Yes, no,
yeah.
I know
What's
about
Sleep
Sleep
Bus?
Bus.
Oh my God, have you not heard about this?
No.
So there is a new company that started a trip down from San Francisco to LA and back, and I think it's like $60 or $70 each way. But it's basically it's a semi, but in the back they're all beds.
Like you have a capsule hotel type
You
situation?
have a capsule. It is.
Yeah.
It is
and it's how much? It's not that expensive.
Yeah, it's like $50 to $70 or something.
Oh man, I would totally do that.
Right.
And they it's you sleep. They pick you up at Caltrain or something at 11 p.m. and then you wake up at 6 a.m.
Gilroy or something?
No.
Here.
AT&T Park.
Oh.
And then you wake up in Santa Monica Pier, and then you don't even, if the drive was fast, they don't even kick you off the bus until 7 a.m. There's coffee and everything. I want to do it.
No,
I'll totally do that.
Totally worth doing.
Yeah.
So I spent the weekend in Memphis with 11 amazingly talented kids. My wife and I were chaperoning them, and it was phenomenal. All the groups in Memphis at this competition and conference were amazing. Vocal Rush, OSA's vocal troupe, won the competition.
Oh, awesome! Congratulations, thing too, and team.
It was wonderful.
It's a cappella.
It is a cappella, and I'll tell you, traveling with an a cappella group of teenagers is a freaking antidepressant. Like they are just, we're in Houston Airport having a layover on our way there, and they're like, well, let's work out our blocking. And 11 kids get up and do the full choreography of one of their songs in the airport. And they did this wherever you stop, they sing.
So it's just like that Anna Kendrick movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've all seen Pitch Perfect. How close?
It's exactly like this.
Okay.
It's totally, it was amazing. We finished out the weekend in Memphis we went to the Civil Rights Museum.
Okay.
Which is at the hotel where Martin Luther King was shot. Now, I want to make a call here for everyone should go to this museum. Now, not just because the history is important. This museum is maybe one of the most impressive physical experiences I've ever had. Have you been?
I've been. It's really good.
The surprise that happens in it is I'm not going to spoil
it's
it
a
any more than that.
theatrical kind of museum.
It is theatrical in a way that is unexpected and really, really magnificent.
Is it so they took the motel and the structure is still the same, but all the rooms are now connected? And
I'm not going to say anything about it.
You should just go.
You should. Okay. It is literally worth a trip to Memphis to go.
So, I'm going to DC next month.
Yeah.
This month now, I guess. I've been told that there's 2 museums I need to go to that I haven't been to yet.
Okay.
One is the Cold War Spy Museum.
Oh.
Which is off the mall and is supposed to be incredible. And it's
Joey went.
Did Joey go?
Joey went.
I told him he should go, but I didn't know if he got there or not. It was built around the same time as the Holocaust Museum, I think, and it follows that same kind of thing. Like there's a theatricalness to the way that you flow through the museum.
Right.
I can't remember what the other one was. It's gone.
A lot of museums in DC.
So then we got back from that. We spent the weekend there. We got back from that on Sunday night, really late, and then Tuesday morning I flew to Cleveland, Ohio.
Hello, Cleveland.
Hello, Cleveland. To get a day-long tour of how Cleveland is addressing Cleveland's problems with maker spaces and open access to making at every possible level for kids.
Cleveland is one of those cities that has been hit hard by the manufacturing, the loss of manufacturing jobs and all that, right?
Cleveland was the city hit hardest by the mortgage crisis. They lost more buildings than any other. And we were talking to them about this, in like Philly or something, there's all these abandoned buildings, all Detroit. The difference is that in Philly and Detroit, a lot of those buildings are brick, so they're not taken down because it's really expensive. In Cleveland, it's just empty lots everywhere.
They just bulldoze warehouses.
And so this is part of a project that I'm starting to work on with the White House OSTP, Office of Science and Technology Protocol. And this was a sort of a fact-finding visit to a city that is working really, really hard to solve its divides, its financial, class, racial divides, by bringing making to kids and giving them safe spaces to work and play and fail better.
Yeah.
And with a threshold of entry that is nearly zero.
Huh.
And it was amazing. I was led around by these 2 amazing women, Sonia Pryor-Jones and Lisa Camp, both of whom are heavily invested in making and teaching kids how to normalize the peripatetic path that making takes you on. And they're amazing. Like I did It was 12 solid hours of going to place to place to place.
How many places did you go to? And were they all schools? Or?
I went to a couple of schools. I went to a Boys and Girls Club. I went to the local public library where they have maker spaces set up, and the president of that library is about to become president of the National Library Association.
Okay.
It was really, really impressive. Perhaps the most impressive was a $50 million endowed 7-story makerspace called ThinkBox.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And under the guidance of Ian Cherney, this place is amazing. So you know how I've said, like, every shop is a philosophy.
Yeah.
This makerspace, ThinkBox, is a philosophy really specifically. Like, they don't have a table saw. They don't have routers. This is a place for prototyping a reasonable product, not for making really finely finished wooden furniture, right? So it's geared towards that rapid prototyping aspect. But also when you show up at the front desk, you show your license and you move yourself over to the laser cutter, get on the list.
Do you have is it like the tech shop where they have a kind of qualification process?
So for things like the laser cutter, there's much less of a qualification process because it's pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
For tools, yes, there is a qualification process, but again, they're looking to make it as low of a threshold to entry as possible.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that's the tech shop secret, right?
Right.
It's the same thing that what was the hackerspace we went to in New York, Norm?
Resistor.
NYC Resistor started. I think they were one of the first people that came up with this. It's like, look, you teach people what they need to know to not hurt themselves or the equipment,
right?
And then let them experiment and let them fail and support them.
It's amazing. They've built software so that when you go up to the laser cutter and put yourself on the list, you put your phone number and it texts you when you're close to being ready.
I mean, that's advanced, and that's for a facility that has $50 million and set up from the ground up to be that purpose.
And it is free to the public.
Wow.
Like residents of is it like library rules, residents of Cleveland, or is it?
I know it's open
you
and
just
free.
Go. That's awesome.
You just go.
I mean, that's a great model going forward.
It's incredible
as the new public library. But even in the old institutions like public libraries and schools that then incorporate makerspaces, how do they reconcile like just the different skills needed and the mindset of people going in?
Well, again, there are in a library you don't necessarily need to have dust making tools, but you could have a variety of 3D printers where the execution is much more reasonable for a low threshold of somebody who doesn't have a lot of technical skill can still actually get something done. And the library is perfect for this. I talked to the superintendent of a school in which they had placed sewing machines in the local libraries.
I mean,
I think that's brilliant. I think that's exactly the kind of relevance the library can bring.
How often do you need a sewing machine? But like, I don't need to own a sewing machine in my small house, right?
Right.
But I frequently need to borrow one for like a half hour.
Yeah.
That's also specifically that type of machine is something that it's not new, so it's not going to be difficult to get someone trained to teach and use it.
Yeah.
And I think, there's going to be a huge opportunity in the next 10, 15 years as kids who grew up with 3D printers who know how to use it and those type of CNC machines then get to work in environments so they're not having to learn new technologies like teachers today and maintain them.
Yeah. And again, this is really, it's a fascinating thing. There are a lot of cities like Cleveland. Cleveland's way out there in terms of being really clear about its mission. And it was, on the tail end of having traveled to Memphis with this incredible, diverse group of super talented teenagers, it felt like being part of the solution. That's really what it felt like. So we were on a bus all day. We're traveling around with city council members and state senators, and we're getting the stories of the people who live in the neighborhoods and how these neighborhoods were harmed by the crack epidemic or harmed by the financial crisis, how Cleveland's divides haven't yielded the right things, and how there are people building groups to gather other groups to heal these things. And so you talk to someone in the Boys and Girls Club. I'd forgotten about the Boys and Girls Club. There's 4,000 of them that serve over 4 million kids around the country.
Incredible organization.
Totally amazing. It was incredibly inspiring. Every single visit we made yielded some new insight and some new ideas about ways in which, again, we keep on going back to this, and we talk about this a lot on this podcast, about failure, about helping kids normalize. As a parent, it's our job to sort of give kids the illusion of consistency until such time as they can handle the truth, which is there is none.
I mean, one of the big challenges I have is that you have to let your kid figure out like how like it would take me 3 seconds to get my daughter dressed in the morning. It takes her 10 minutes. Right.
Yeah.
We take the 10 minutes every single day. Yeah. It's maddening. Right.
Dude, you just wait. Let me tell you that you'll spend the next 15 years waiting for her to put on her shoes. I still, my teenagers, it's like, I don't,
Socks
how many
are hard,
laces, man. How many laces do you have to have on your shoes?
Well, that's the fun, like, how to break something down to explain it to a 3-year-old is one of my new favorite games to play. Mm-hmm. Like, when you think about something like putting a zipper on, it's like zipping a jacket. Right, you think that's 3 motions, right? You insert it and then you slide it up and then you're done.
No, it's
but
a whole
it's actually like you
exercise.
hold the left side and then you hold the right side on the pull tab and you have to line it up and slide it down and then lift it up and it's really
So anyway, just to wrap this up, I did the tour again. Lisa Camp and Sonia Pryor-Jones were my spirit animals on this journey, and they were incredible. I was also with the White House Deputy Director in charge of making. Andrew Coy, also a really amazing guy, and it was an eye-opening journey. I'm still gathering all the data about the visits, but we're going to do a post where I link to all these different organizations I visited on Tested, because it was just so transformative, and I'm going to go to other cities in the next few months.
If people want to know, if librarians or people in city government are listening to this now and want to know how to do this on their scale,
yes,
do you have resources?
That's the thing, is that each of these places that we visited is working hard towards building playbooks of what they're doing, how they're doing it, how it's working.
Yeah, which part, like the laser cutter section is always really busy, and the mill is probably not so much.
And
right?
what do you do on their two biggest days? Their 2 biggest weeks are the week before Christmas and the week before Valentine's Day.
Of course.
Right.
I mean, it's fascinating. Like, you don't think these playbooks, like, why wouldn't they exist? And someone's need to make them.
And that's the thing, is they're realizing from the ground up. They also are taking a look at giving playbooks for their fundraising as well, because this is the other hard part.
Yeah.
What is the threshold to entry for the people giving the money? How do you pitch this thing? Where is the data you call upon to say this is great for our kids, this is great for this entire community from the ground all the way up?
And how do you work with the local governments and avoid liability issues and all those concerns?
Absolutely, all of that, and it's not difficult.
The other thing that there had, like,
Fab Lab, MIT's Fab Lab, the machine that can make anything. Cleveland was the first site of a Fab Lab.
Oh, okay.
And it was Sonia Pryor-Jones that brought the first Fab Lab to Cleveland, and so they've been part of this. They've been looking at this solution for a long time.
Did you find that they were engaging, like, I know that there's a lot of, like, retired machinists and retired woodworkers and stuff like that are out there just kind of looking, maybe not looking for stuff to do, but that are an incredible resource for people who are trying to get this stuff off the ground.
Yeah.
To bring them in, and then you have a multi-generational thing too.
That's
which
a
has
good.
some
Yeah,
positives,
no, it's a great question.
Okay. Cool.
So Cleveland rocks. I know that Drew Carey said it for a long time. I'm here to tell you, Cleveland was a fantastic.
I've heard nothing but good about Cleveland.
It's a great city. It is a terrific city.
Ohio
so Cleveland
seems nice.
Represent.
Anything else? Is that the
you
end
owe
of your
us
travels?
a story.
I owe you a story.
From the last episode, we ended, and we talked about BattleBots a little earlier in this episode.
Right. Blendo.
Yes.
Blendo. Okay.
Yes, I want to make sure that we...
Norm.
So Blendo was Jamie Heinemann's design for a robot for robotic combat, and this is year 1, I think, of Robot Wars, 1995. If I remember correctly.
Blendo was the first spinner?
It was the first spinner.
Was it a horizontal spinner or a vertical spinner?
Horizontal spinner. Okay. Vertical spinners didn't show up for a while.
Vertical spinners are the scariest thing I've ever seen in person.
There were just billets of steel for vertical spinners this year.
Look, I have stood on top of a running nuclear reactor and had the little dosimeter start buzzing at me. That was less scary than watching Nightmare carve up chunks of the floor at BattleBots last year.
Yep.
Like somebody found a piece of steel from the ground, embedded high in the plexiglass.
Yeah,
terrifying.
Lexan.
Sorry. Yeah.
At any rate, so Blendo was the very first spinner. Jamie's first idea for Blendo was that he'd spin it up to 20,000 RPM, and its own momentum would keep it running for the 3 minutes of a match. Now, he reached out to a friend of his who's a physicist who explained that at 20,000 RPM, it would explode because of the friction with the air. it would catch on fire and just disintegrate. So he's like, all right, I'll lower my sights. And he attached a 5-horsepower Briggs & Stratton engine to a chassis that we machined out of steel. I was on this team back when it was Colossal Pictures Model Shop. And it was a spinning upside-down walk with a steel ring around it and 2 case-hardened steel blades. And
like 3 inches?
Something like that. Bolted on with grade 8 bolts.
Yeah.
But when we first started it up, when we first finished the machine, the question was, how do you start a machine in which the entire exterior is one thing and it's spinning? So Jamie rigged up the pull cord spindle of the engine to a threaded attachment. And he stood on an apple box and chucked a drill into the thread of attachment and pulled the drill until it started the engine. And then when the engine spun up, it spun the threads back out.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So you have to be standing over this terrifying thing.
This is worse than the time he talked about making the sword on the table saw.
Right. So when we first we're there on Colossal Pictures used to be on Quint Street down off of Evans. This little sort of no man's land by the water. And we set up a whole circle of sandbags, of film sandbags.
This is for the test.
This is for the test of Blendo, the first engine start of Blendo. Sandbags, and we didn't have the horns on it. However, this is great.
You mean the horns, the blades?
The blades.
Yeah, the blades.
Okay.
This exterior ring was, its ID was about 30 inches, and its OD was about 42 inches, right?
Okay.
So it's fairly thick, and it's thicker than 1/4-inch plate. It might have even been 3/8.
How did you bend it?
We didn't bend it. It was a flat plate that Jamie machined by putting it on a turntable and putting an angle grinder on it for days.
Oh my God.
That's how he balanced it. So he had this extra room at Colossal Pictures, and it was just for days. It was over there going, and he'd check it every hour or so, and it was just slowly machining this thing into perfect true. Right. So we set this sharpened blade on the outside of this walk, welded to it, and we chucked this thing in, and we're all standing aside, and we start it. And we've got the RC, right? So it can actually drive. But it drives with a clutch that's attached to the outer spinning, so it's only one motor makes everything go.
Oh, see, the only way you make the wheels go is by
actually spinning up the outside.
Wow.
It's clutched to the drive wheels, and you can clutch one or the other. So we're all there on the RC. He chucks it up, and the first thing it does is it carves right through like 2 feet of sandbags. Just boom! And we're like, off! And it went right off, and we're like, holy crap!
Wow.
Why did it go off?
Well, it's either going or spinning. You want it going, not spinning, right?
Yeah, we turned it off.
Okay. Why did it go off in that direction?
It took a lot to harness
the balance,
the amount of energy and balance, and it was terrifying. It was terrifying. I can't exactly remember what the initial problem was. It might have been just a glitch in the RC, or starting it every single time was terrifying.
My favorite question that we asked people last year was, how did you test this at home?
And many times they did not.
Right.
They have
most
not.
of the time.
We're excited for the opportunity to test it in the BattleBots.
In situ.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Man.
So
Blendo, I'm so excited to see the next season.
It's great. There are some truly unbelievable matches, including the stability of a spinner when it gets hit and tossed in the air and behaves according to its precession and its rotational stability is amazing.
Yeah. 500 pounds of metal smashing into each other with incredible amounts of energy.
And even from production standpoint, I'm sure we've talked about this, just how to document that, to translate it for film, for TV, is itself a huge challenge, because you want to relay like the impact. You can't. It's impossible. You have to be there to just feel it and to hear it. It doesn't translate.
If you're watching it, go to the subwoofer, turn it from whatever it's set at by default, and crank it up like say 3 or 4 notches.
Yeah,
give it a little oomph.
They make it really like a sporting event. There's commentary before and after the matches, color commentary. And as a judge, we had the greatest seats in the house. We're sitting there just looking right through the window, and most of the action ends up right in front of us.
How many times did you jump back?
I jumped forward. That's my. I know
really?
I'm behind 1.25 inches of Lexan of polycarbonate, so I'm fine. But holy crap, man! There was a couple of thuds that were like, probably 3 or 4 times a full leap back out of terror.
There was one last year that like they ended up riding up those death screws right on that wall, and all 3 judges kind of did a jump back.
There was a really sweet moment in which this kid goes up to Jessica Chobot and says, "Can I have your phone number?" And she's like, "Are you kidding me?" And he goes, "Just write down anything, just so my friends see."
Oh,
oh boy,
that is a kid with chutzpah.
Yeah, that's pretty
it's
impressive.
like the Sandlot.
I told her she should have written the classic movie phone number 555 1 2 3 4.
Oh, that's awesome. I think that's as good a place as any to wrap it up this week.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a lot of travel. It's nice to be back and not traveling.
You here for a little bit now?
Ish.
Okay. Norm, anything untested this week people should check out?
Yeah. So from the travels, from Adam's travels and our travels, we visited a friend's shop, and that video will be going up this week. So you gotta check that out on Thursday.
Joey, Chandler, Rachel.
No.
Which friend?
Oh, podcast out. Thanks again to Casper Mattresses, obsessively engineered American-made mattresses at a shockingly fair price. And you can get $50 toward any mattress purchase by going to casper.com/untitled and using the offer code untitled. $50. Casper brings together 2 comfy technologies for better nights and brighter days: latex foam and memory foam. So they got just the right amount of sink and the right bounce no matter how you sleep. They also have a risk-free trial and return policy. They'll deliver it straight to you, and you can try it for 100 days. It's like 3 months. And if you're not happy, they'll pick it back up, a 3-month-old mattress. It's $500 for a twin-size mattress and $950 for a king-size mattress. Comparing that to industry standards and averages, that's an outstanding price point. So get $50 toward any mattress purchase by going to casper.com/untitled, again, using the offer code untitled. Terms and conditions may apply, and we'll see you next week.